Demonstrations have been continuing at college campuses across the United States. In New York, police raided a building at Columbia University occupied by students protesting in solidarity with Palestinians. In Los Angeles, a mob attacked a Palestine solidarity sit-in at the University of California. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in West Jerusalem. Blinken said a deal for a ceasefire in Gaza is achievable and reiterated US opposition to an Israeli ground offensive in Rafah. An Israeli strike has killed at least 2 children in Rafah. The military has been attacking residential areas across the Strip. More than 34,500 Palestinians have been killed in nearly 7 months of war. Let's hear now from Marwan Bishara, Al Jazeera senior political analyst, joins us from London. Hi, Marwan. Blinken will leave Israel shortly, pressuring Hamas to agree to a truce, but failing to dissuade Netanyahu of a Rafah incursion, regardless of a truce, it seems. A stalemate.
Well, yes. I'm not sure if it's a stalemate. It's perhaps a diplomatic stalemate, but it's clearly an ongoing onslaught on Gaza. And maybe that is the whole point of the diplomatic stalemate, is to allow for the genocide to continue, to unravel in Gaza and people to die and to starve and to be preoccupied with burying their loved ones. Perhaps that is the purpose of diplomacy. But if it's not, it clearly has failed. And this broken record declarations and statements on the part of American officials has proved to be, utterly humiliating and nonsensical. So at the end of the day, because you, Suhail, I've heard you throughout the day, this week too, you've been trying to understand the pattern as well. So why does this continue? And clearly there is some method to the madness of American diplomacy. What I can dissect, that it's over the past 6 months, the American officials have tried to kill Netanyahu with kindness. It's been killing with kindness strategy. No matter what he does, no matter how many people he kills, no matter what he provokes and invokes in a statement of Amalek and genocide and no one innocent in Gaza, no matter how many mass graves we're going to dig, the Americans continue to shower him with praise and talk about anti-Semitism, hoping that this will rub off on him. Well, guess what? He is immune to kindness. Netanyahu does not respond well to this sort of a thing. And he continues on his own pathway to death and destruction in Gaza, because that's what he thinks. That's how he's ingrained in his very ideological, personal and political career.
Do you think that's the same sort of messaging, Marwan, from the US to the rest of, you might say, the Israeli cabinet? Because Blinken has been meeting everybody, hasn't he, from the left and from the right and everybody else in between?
I think it's for keeping up appearances. I think with a 64 strong majority, in addition to several others like Gantz and Eisenkot and so on, Netanyahu feels very comfortable with his parliamentary majority to survive whatever is being cooked up for him or not being cooked up for him. So as long as he continues with this pathway forward, threatening to invade Rafah, refusing to accept any permanent ceasefire, he's going to maintain his government.
Marwan, we spoke about this yesterday and we touched on the fact that the US administration is under great pressure at home to spreading university protests. I mean, it's not helping the Democrats or the Republicans in the messaging about their sort of fully fledged backing for Israel and the tax dollars that are being spent on there. But it's not actually helping any of the European governments. And if we just pivot towards Europe, what's happening in America is now happening in major cities across Europe, and a lot of these countries are going to the polls in the next few weeks and the next few months.
Well, I'll tell you something, Suhail, and I think it's for our viewers around the world. I think we've been having some of probably the most exquisite, the most excellent coverage at Al Jazeera of what has been going on in Western universities and on the streets of Western capitals, and in terms of what's happening in the society, not just in the high politics, but also in the so-called low politics. And our coverage just today, in the last few days and weeks in American universities, has just been, certainly contrasted with other networks who failed miserably. to really distinguish the right from wrong, the truth from the deception. But we still have not talked about Generation Z. We didn't have the wider conversation. Who are these people that are ready to lose their expensive university tuition, Ivy League schools, right, for the sake of Palestine, for the sake of justice, for the sake of morality and ethics? What is this generation? Because this generation has been separate from us, whether in Europe, in the United States, or elsewhere. They've been busy, they're networked, they're online all the time. We don't know if they're playing video games or they're just getting better informed. Certainly, Biden and Adams, the mayor of New York, certainly don't understand this generation. They think this generation as cynical as they are. Well, it's not. This generation is not ideological, it is moral. And it does believe in social justice, and it does believe in racial equality, and it does believe in human rights and the need for people to live free of fear in Palestine. So this generation is organizing, and this generation is sacrificing. And this generation is the culmination of all previous generations since the Second World War. So this generation, I think, is teaching us all a lesson in their sacrifice, in their ideals and principles. And we are seeing them not stopping. They're seeing them continuing, persisting. And we're seeing them spread because they are better networked. Mayor Adams thinks that they need agitators to come from I don't know where to New York or Chicago or Los Angeles to indoctrinate them. He doesn't even understand that they are so well networked that they don't need anyone to agitate them because they're so well informed and they're so well agitated themselves. This Generation Z is thought to be zany, kind of a bit maybe weird or whatever, but it's not. It is zestful. It is zealful. It is zen. It's all of these wonderful things, and they have proven to be the case. And they're turning to be perhaps the last hope for all of us in terms of the fight for justice.
Yeah, let's see if the politicians also see what they're made of in the coming days and weeks. For the moment, Marwan, thanks very much for joining us. Marwan Bishara there, our senior political analyst.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.